Hello, today I will be showing you how to find standard deviation and variance on the TI-84. So the calculator does not know whether your numbers are a sample or a population, and it will compute both the standard deviation for whether it was a population or a sample, and you simply choose the one that you want to use. So first we'll begin by putting our numbers into the list editor. So on your calculator, you're going to go to Stat and Enter. This will take us to our list editor. And because we're taking the standard deviation and the variance, it's all one set of data. So we'll enter our numbers in. So here I'm just using a random set of numbers that I'm choosing. All right, so I have my set of data enter into the list that I want to use here. Now, it does not matter which list you choose. You could put them in L1, L2, L3, or whatever you choose. When we go through to find the standard deviation, we simply have to tell the calculator which one we want to use. So now that our data is entered in, we're going to go back to the home screen by pressing second mode. And now we're ready to tell the calculator to compute the standard deviation. So we're going to go back to our stat menu. And this time we're going to go to calc. And we're going to choose one variable stats because we put all our data in one list. And here it's simply asking us for which list do we want to use to compute the one variable stats. So we put our data into L1, but this is where you would change it. If you had selected L2, you would do second and 2 to switch it to L2, or second and 3 if you had done L3, and so on. So we want our list to say L1, and so I'm going to enter, and now I'm ready to calculate. So enter again. And you want to leave frequency list blank if you don't have repetition of the numbers in a different list. Okay. So in this case, we're simply going to go to calculate. And our calculator returns a long list of data. So we have X bar, sigma x squared, Sx, lowercase sigma x, n, min x, q1. And then you see the arrow key here, which simply means that there are some other values listed down at the bottom. So let's scroll down briefly and see those. So if you press the down arrow, you see median, Q3, and max X. So now, scrolling back up to the top of our list. So first we've got X bar, which is the mean of a sample. And we know that in this case, because this mean doesn't matter whether it's a population or a sample, mean is computed the same way. Sigma x is simply the sum of our data. Sigma x squared is the sum of the data values squared. But right here, this is where we want to be. So this is where we have both our Sx and sigma x values. And so these represent our standard deviation for a sample, which is Sx. Or for a population, we would choose lowercase sigma x here. And so again, the calculator does not know whether you have a population or a sample, so it will compute both for you. So now that we have the standard deviation, and we'll go with the sample in this case, we will go through and find the variance simply by squaring the standard deviation. So because the standard deviation itself is given to us, we'll simply type that number again and square it. So I'm going to do my sample standard deviation and use that to find sample variance. So I'm going to type it again. So 5.63234713. And now I'm going to square that value and enter. And this is where I would find my variance. So 31.733 repeating is the sample variance for this problem. So sample standard deviation was given here, 5.633, 234.713, and we square that value to find the sample variance. Now, if you had computed that by hand, you would have found the variance first, and you would simply take the square root to get to the standard deviation. And so we're working backwards. So using the calculator, we found the standard deviation first, and we went backwards to find the variance. Now, if you had used the population value instead, that would have given you the population variance. So now you have it. You can find the standard deviation and the variance on your calculator.